Hello and welcome to Mad Old Goes Racing, and today we're back in AMS2 having a look at the build 1452 drop of the Brazilian Legends Part 1 DLC. Now this covers 6 cars: the Brabham BT49, which is meant to be the 1980 version. I say meant to be, I'll get to that in a minute. Brabham BT52 from 1983, Lotus 98T, which is 1986, the McLaren MP4/4 from 1988, the McLaren MP4/5B from 1990, and the MP4/6 from 1991. Now, I'm going to drive the first 3 cars round Silverstone 1975 layout. And the reason for that is that particular layout was used from 75 to, they changed it in 87 to add the Lafayette chicane, took out the Woodcote chicane. That particular layout, or that particular circuit was used for 2 out of the 3 years. The other year, 1980, assuming we were in a 1980, BT49 was actually one of the years Brands Hatch was used. They alternated between Brands Hatch and Silverstone for the Grand Prix. So 86 would also have been a year they were at Brands, but as far as the Lotus is concerned, it's very similar to the 97T, just a generational improvement as opposed to a massive evolution. The other 3 cars will run at Spa 91, is it? Is it the 91? Or was it 88? 83. But that particular layout was used from 83 to 93, so it's very much a case of covers all those cars nicely. I could have chosen some of the other circuits. There's Hockenheim, Imola, Monaco, Montreal and Monza are all used for all of the years. All the other circuits were not used for the full years, but of those, Hockenheim was changed in 82 to add the second chicane on the Ost curve. Monaco was changed with the Nouvelle chicane in 86, which is the swimming pool one, which is left, right, right, left, as opposed to just right, left, I think it was. Can't remember which way it went now. Montreal, which they changed the start location from what's now, or would have been, the start of the back straight to where it is now. And in 91, they actually changed the final chicane to make it a bit easier to hit the Wall of Champions, presumably. The 2 unchanged circuits were Imola and Monza. I'll run around Monza. I'm just not sure about the first chicanes, the Retifilia, how much curb you could have used through the years, whether or not they changed the curbing. The version that's in game is the 91, and it's got quite a lot of extra bits behind the sort of initial part of the chicane, curbing, and I'm thinking, was it really like that? You know what these race drivers are like. If there's an option to use a bit of grass, they'll use it until they tarmac over the damn thing. And Imola, that particular layout has the horrible chicane into the Aqua Minerale, and I just can't stand driving that fucking version of the circuit, so that's why I didn't go for that. So I thought, sod it, we'll split between the 2, and we'll go with Silverstone for the first 3. So the first car is the Brabham BT49. Nelson Piquet was second in the World Championship in 1980 in what this is meant to be, the BT49. The BT49C was a revision of it, and that's the one he won the first world title in. It's only got 2 liveries, which are basically the numbers 5 and 6. Pretty little car, nice smooth lines because it's got the big side pods, which give a nice smooth line to the car. So it's quite clean, it's very simple looking. The reason I'm a bit confused about it is I thought the 49 didn't have any front wings to it. And in fact, if you read Wikipedia, they will tell you that the 49 and the 49C, the difference is the FIA for the 1981 season changed the rules as far as ground effect was concerned, and they basically said these cars had to have a minimum of, I think it was 2.6 inches of ground minimum ride height. So that meant there was a bit more room between the actual tarmac and the bottom of the car to fill in. And also the side skirts had to be solidly mounted, so they couldn't move up and down as the car went down, which meant that it was much more difficult to get the ground effect to work. Brabham got around it by adding some air suspension, which basically held the car up just enough for when it was measured to make sure it got the right clearance. And as soon as the car started to get a bit of downforce on it, it went whoop and dropped down to the right height to get the maximum ground effect, even with the solid skirts. Apparently they were stiff as buggery and only had about 1.5 inches of suspension travel, and half of that was just the flex in the rear tyre wall. So yeah, probably a bit uncomfortable. But then circuits, if they're nice and smooth, you shouldn't have a problem with it. So no, we didn't want to do that, as we've already got it selected. I'll just go back rather than hitting the select again. Right, 4 laps. What we do around here, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, nice simple design, pretty little car. Did I say what was in the back? It's the DFV V8 in the back. Bit of a squirrely start. Yeah, the Cosworth, I think, gave them some development engines, sort of their slightly quicker versions, because they realised they were doing well along with Williams, I think it was. So they went, oh, you're doing really well with our standard engines, have some quicker ones. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll probably clip a couple of those posts a couple of times. Right, car, sounds nice. Really nicely balanced, good front end to it, turns in nicely, doesn't feel like it's going to do anything stupid. Talking of not doing anything stupid, you'll notice there's no curves to save you on the exits and things, so not sure what they used third or fourth through there, so I'll go with fourth for now, and we might try third on a different lap. Every lap's different. Try to spot this last corner's really difficult, but this thing really does flick through there really nicely. It's so positive. Changes direction really nicely. Really nice FFV. You can tell it's just starting to push the front end just a little bit through the second half of the corner there. Probably hasn't quite got the tyres up to full temperature inside. No strange flicks from the back end as I got the power down. I said the engine's got a nice spread of power to it, not too peaky, so it's not going to do anything too strange. I'm not sure whether to use second through there actually. Might try going down 2 gears here just to not sure if that was better or not. Yeah, really positive, nicely balanced, plenty of grip, brakes feel good. Doesn't feel like it wants to lock up and be stupid or anything when you hit the brakes, so that's nice. Overall, it's just a really nice car. Should probably be using the H pattern with this, but I can't do too many things at once. Think about things, change gear, scratch my nose, you know. Again, you get the power down nice and early. You feel a little bit of rotation on the car, just real natural rotation, not sort of forced. Doesn't feel like it's trying to suddenly change direction unexpectedly, so maybe I should be going out a second for that. Got one more lap to try it out, haven't we? Carrying higher gear maybe was better through there. So everything, not giving myself the opportunity to really get a feel for the car in between each, with only doing 4 laps and flitting between cars. Off the curb in a rather interesting way. I'll let it run a bit wide there. But yes, really nice. It's nice and easy to drive. Not doing anything dumb, not doing anything stupid for you. Going where you pointed. Stopping, accelerating, rotating as expected. All in all, very nice to drive, which is what you want. Sort of car that encourages us to go, yeah, I will have a plate tonight and I will drive what I'm doing. So I was just trying to think how many more years the good old V8s are about. I'd have to think very hard about that. There you go, 4 reasonably consistent laps. The fastest of a 14.5. I think that might have been a bit quick for me. I'll have to go and have a check to see what sort of lap times I should have been able to do in that car, because that felt really good. Let's skip the cool down lap and then see if we can actually hit the replay and get it to save. There we have a save button. Now, next up, like I said, I'm a bit confused about the 49 because as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't have wings if it's a 49, but it should have wings of a 49C. So I'm not really sure. Next up, in the next, and that's by the way, that's the Retro Gen 2. In the Retro Gen 3, we have already the MP4 1C, which is part of the base game. But then we have the Brabham BT52 added. Now didn't mean to do that. Meant to go into come on, fucking brain, get working. Meant to go into the showroom. Interesting concept. This they had actually developed the BT51 already, and then the FIA turned round and said, we're going to ban ground effect, and the underside of your car is going to have to be completely flat. So they had basically 6 weeks to come up with this instead. It's an interesting design concept. They the BT51, like the 49, had very long side pods because it was sort of big, wide under tray to make use of ground effect. As that had gone, they found that without the ground effect, they were actually getting lift using the long side pods, so they went, get rid of the side pods. Also, because they were now using the BMW M12 engine, which is a 4-cylinder single turbo, it produced less heat, so they actually needed less radiator, so they could get away with smaller side pods from that as well. So all in all, they ended up with a very sleek dart shape, and also the weight distribution on this is almost 70% rear weight, so there's a lot of rear weight bias on it. It's got a barn door for a rear wing to make up for the lack of ground effect. So interesting. It's probably one of the more unique shaped cars that's been developed over these. I think Tyrrell had something very similar at one point. I believe Martin Brundle might have been driving when they had something that looked very similar to this. But yeah, pretty little car. I don't know what liveries they got, just the same too. I think when they went to the next version of the 52. Was it a 52 B or C? I think they swapped the colour scheme on it or something. I don't think I'm talking bollocks. I don't think so. I might be. Power output, depending upon what you read and where you read it. This engine was meant to produce anything up to 1400 horsepower, which is clever because BMW's dyno didn't actually go up that high. So how they measured 1400 horsepower, I don't know, because they never had a dyno that would actually do that. Estimations of around, was it 640, 650 in race trim? 640, yeah, 640 in race trim, 850 in quality trim. So should be very quick. I hope I have managed to set this thing back to its default interesting sounding. The front end feels quite good straight away. Good amount of weight on the FFB. Just killed that pose. It's quite flighty because of the way the turbo kicks in at times if you're not careful. So I have to say the brakes are quite wooden. If you don't know what I mean by wooden, it's like they've got no real feel to them, so it's quite difficult to modulate, which does make life quite difficult. It just feels really edgy. Definitely doesn't feel as pleasant or planted as a 49 through the Woodcote chicane there. Oops. Now the thing is, Piquet actually said it was easy to drive, so whether it's just that the turbo's wound up a bit too far by default. Default was 70%, and if you actually pull up the page on the HUD that shows you the power delivery, you can't actually see what it is because it's flicking about too much, so it makes it very difficult to tell whether or not it's actually accurate. I think it's flicking over at 700 plus, which would imply that it's got too much turbo boost. If you turn it down to 60, it's actually a lot more predictable. And even 55%, it just gets a little bit more docile, a bit easier to drive. Doesn't change the fact that the back end feels a little bit wayward at times. And it almost feels like it hasn't quite got enough rear downforce, or something's not quite there or thereabouts. Lap time that was. I'm pretty sure that this was actually quicker in Silverstone than the 49. Ooh, bit of over rotation on the entrance to the corner there. But yeah, it's definitely not as pleasant to drive as the 49. Said brakes are a bit wooden, a bit hard to tell when they're about to lock, whether that's the weight distribution's making it quite easy to lock the brakes, I don't know. But it's definitely not quite feel like it's dialed in quite right, so maybe they'll have another go at it. If you wind the turbo up to 100%, it is mental. tried it in at Monza, and it was a lot of a handful. If you caught curves wrong or did anything like that, it could kill you instantly. So at circuits with a few more slow corners, run on the grass. Shame that. I mean, it feels on initial turning like it's really nice, and then it starts to feel a little bit like it's wandering a bit. And the back end's like, I'm not sure if I want to follow. 1:15, so slower than the BT49, and definitely feels more flighty, not as planted. It's bloody quick in a straight line, as in mentally quick, but that doesn't always give you the best lap time, because you're trying to slow a car down from a higher top speed may actually do you no favours at all. Sounds nice. Excellent job on the sound. So yes, it's much more difficult to drive. It's much more. I mean, I know people have said, "Oh, it's brilliant. You lift off oversteer and lift off this and that." Yeah, I know. I think it's Piquet said easy to drive, but he's a Formula 1 world champion. I'll get sitting in front of a computer screen. So my idea of easy and his might be two somewhat different things. So it might be how it was, but I just find it a little bit too flighty and a little bit too sharp in all the wrong places. I don't mind a sharp front end. It's the slightly sudden power delivery can be a little bit tricky. So next up, and the last one to snare in, will be the classic that is the 98T Lotus. Now, like I said, they didn't actually run this at Silverstone, but the previous year they had run the 97, and it was, like all the cars around Silverstone, phenomenally quick. I think the fastest lap in qualifying was a 1:05, and the lap time for the race was 1:09, something like that. 1 minute, just under 1:10. No, so I've got it up there. 1:09.886 by Alan Prost in the McLaren tag. Williams Honda on pole, 1:05.591. I won't be getting anywhere near that because I'm not going to wind the turbo up, but really pretty car. Now, this was, I think, the last year they ran the Renault engine, because Renault withdrew for 87, and this is an 86 car. So this was the last year for Renault for a while. It was also the last year they ran the JPS livery, the black and gold. They moved over to camel after that. The reason for that was very simply that for the following season, because they lost the Renault engines, they were going to swap over to Honda. Honda wanted a Japanese driver, and that was, who ran for them? I think I wrote it down. Satoru Nakajima, that was it. Honda wanted a Japanese driver. John Player wanted an English driver, or a British driver. That's why Johnny Dumfries had been driving for them when they ran the 98T. Honda won that one, so John Player took their toys and fucked off, and were replaced by Camel. So that's where the yellow sponsorship came from, for the Camel following year. Interestingly, they also were meant to be running the 6-speed gearbox, the Hoolan 6-speed. Johnny Dumfries ran with the 6-speed. Senna preferred the reliability of the 5-speed, and he actually ran the 5-speed, even though the 6-speed might have been more suited to the slightly more Piquet engine when it was producing nearly 1500 brake horsepower, whatever the hell it was meant to be able to do. I think the quote, I've seen quotes anywhere from 1200 to 1500, but 1200's more than enough. So yeah, but it is a very classically beautiful car. I don't think there's anything remotely like an ugly John Player Special liveried Lotus. I don't think you could ever make a black and gold pinstripe livery like that look ugly on a car. Like I said, Renault V6, 800 odd horsepower in race trim. Was it 8 to 900 horsepower? So should be blindingly fast in a straight line. There we go. Like I said, 5-speed gearbox. Whoops. A snappy start. Wait for a bit of temperature at the rear tyres before I commit too hard to the throttle. There's another post. Not sure if they're meant to be concrete or wood, but nice little bit of rotation coming up the straight there. It's, I'll probably take out posts on every corner at this point. That engine does pull really nicely, even for sort of mid-range revs, so it's loads of grunt. And it's really, really nicely controllable, as you might gather from the fact I got it a bit sideways there. You can feel it want to rotate, but it's really telling you what it wants to do. It's not going, I'm rotating, fuck you, I'm not telling you that I'm going to do it. It tells you that it's going to do it, and then it does it. So there again, you can see a little bit more. You might not be able to see it, but I can feel it. A little bit of rotation coming on the straight there. Really, really positive, really nicely balanced, and probably could have carried a shit ton more speed through there, because I keep forgetting I can rotate the car with a bit of power coming out, so you can actually finish the corner off on the exits using the power. Still can't decide if I want to go down 2 or 3 gears into there. Yeah, absolutely sublime car, really, really solid. Just feels really nice to drive. And even with 800 or 900 horsepower on tap, it still feels perfectly controllable, which is what you want. I'm not sure how fast we're going down the back straight because I'm not actually looking. I think you get close to 200 miles an hour, but I don't look. Don't take your eyes off the road, whatever you do. Yeah, it's definitely a bit better in third. So the fastest lap was 1 minute 9 point something. I'm not going to claim to be a driving god because I'm not, but it's not a million miles out in terms of performance if I'm doing about a second off what they would do. I always look at it from the point of view of if you're within the ballpark of like 5 to 10%, it's probably not going to get a huge amount closer because it's just the more complex your sim becomes, the more difficult it is to actually get everything 100% accurate. So it actually becomes more bloody difficult, not easier, to get an accurate lap time. I'm at 8.5, so I suspect you could whip another second or maybe two off that if you were blindingly fast. And I'm sure winding the turbo up, but you could probably get even more of it. I'm not sure what sort of performance or what sort of power output it's actually set to at default, but it's got plenty of grunt, to put it that way. Right, skip the cooldown. Hey, give me the save. Really nice sounding as well. I don't know if you noticed, there was a weird, every few seconds there was this cyclic little noise. I forgot to point it out, but yeah, there's a slight weirdness on the engine sound on that. So whether it's on the end of a loop or something, I don't know. But it's just this little repetitive, every few seconds little sound, and it's not annoying enough that you'd be going, oh, I can't stand it. Well, not unless you're one of these audiophiles who can't stand the slightest little issue with their sound. But right, so that's the ones we're going to run around Silverstone. Now we're going to go to Spa, and we're going to go to Spa 1993, which is actually the same as the 83, although I don't know if the curves are a bit different. And we're going to go for 2 laps instead of, because we're trying not to make this ridiculously long. It should be roughly the same sort of time. And then we're going to go off to have a look at the classic Gen 2 and the MP4/4. Now, this car won, was it all bar one of the rounds that year? Monza? Yeah, Monza, which Gerhard Berger won in the Ferrari. Every other round was won either by Senna or Prost driving the 2 cars. I mean, you got two of the absolute top drivers of the day in the best car. I don't know, I can't remember how they managed not to win at Monza, but they didn't win at Monza. But this is possibly one of the most iconic cars ever in terms of sort of performance compared with everything else on the field. Like I said, won nearly every round, and I don't think that's happened since, that one car has been that dominant. Honda V6 engine. The regulations for that year, they dropped the boost pressure to, was it 2.5 bar? Yeah, 2.5 bar for 1988. And Honda were the only company who actually made a specific engine to deal with the 2.5 bar. Everybody else just turned the turbos down from the previous year's engines. Honda came out with a new engine that was used by McLaren and Williams or Lotus. I can't remember now. But yes, nice car, really clean lines on it. Absolute joy to look at, and hopefully a joy to drive, if I can remember how to drive. But yes, actually, interesting fact that year that Prost actually scored more points than Senna, but because of the limited rounds counted, there was only 11 rounds counted, actually meant because Senna won more races, he was less consistent in terms of finishing, but because he won more races, he actually won the title, even though he actually scored fewer overall points. So Just a little aside, not to take anything away from the fact that did I remember to put that on 2 laps? I think I did, didn't I? So yes, really nice car to look at. It's just so clean. I find modern cars are a little bit over the top in terms of the amount of bullshit they've got in the way of little winglets and everything, but brakes lock up a bit easily. Now, a lot less power than the previous year because they dropped from 4 bar down to 2.5 bar. But was it 300, 400 horsepower less or something daft I was getting? I think it was 300 horsepower less or something. But 6-speeder on each pattern, so you do have to be a little bit careful about really fast downshifts. If you're using a sequential style shifter and you shift down too quick, you'll find there might be a weird hesitation. Whoop. Don't overdo the curb hopping. You might get a bit of a weird down change if you're not careful. Whoop. Got a really positive turn in fact far too positive here because I forgot how positive it was. It seems really responsive. Does what you expect it to, hopefully. This is the point where I make a complete tour of myself and show that it does do what I want it to. But yeah, it handles beautifully. Really nice force feedback. I think because I locked the front wheel up going at the first corner, I actually have a slight flat spot. Yeah, don't brake too late, but through the bus stop chicane and that's about the only thing I'll say about this. The brakes are a little bit too sharp on it. Could do with easing off just a little bit. Hear that? I've got to remember to bleed my foot pressure off a little bit more. Just trying to remember what sort of lap times I did. 2 minutes-ish, I think was the number. Yeah, it's really nicely balanced. Just don't run a back end over that curb there, because you lift the car and do that with it. It's not clever. That was down to me and my driving rather than the car. These heavily sloped curbs are real fun if you get them wrong. I'll try not to do that in the other 2 cars because it doesn't make them look good. Yet it is a blindingly nice car to drive, this. You actually just have to carried second gear through the chicane. I think I was using second earlier, just under a 2-minute lap, so yeah, brakes just a tad too sharp, but other than that it's really spot on. Well, that and the fact it can embarrass you over the curbs if you're not careful. Now, did it just actually save the damn thing itself? Because... oh, come on. Yeah, definitely locked up a bit there. Come on. Thank you. I sometimes think it's actually auto-saving the replay. I had one earlier where it seemed to have saved the same replay about 4 times, so... but I'd only saved it once, so it might have been automatically saving it. Right, next on the list is the Gen 3, which is the MP45B. Now, this is a V10 Honda. This is the car that Senna won the title in 91? 90, I'll get it right. This was the year of the infamous Senna-Prost collision at Suzuka. This is the infamous collision that caused the "if you no longer go for a gap" quote, which is always quoted by people who, for some reason, never knew that in fact it was all a load of bullshit. So it took Ayrton a year to, because he actually came out of that quote when he was being interviewed by Jackie Stewart, and he basically didn't talk to Jackie Stewart for 12 months, and a year later he talked to Stewart, he phoned him up and talked to him and said, basically, God won't let me get away with keep telling this lie. That was, and yes, I did deliberately ram him. So he wanted to get it off his chest, and he did. But the thing is, by that point, that had gone down in fucking folklore as a thing, and people still quote it left, right and centre. So I'll look at it in the showroom. It's actually a very similar line, believe it or not, to the 4/4, but because of the air intake, it does look completely different in terms of sort of wings and everything. It's actually quite similar, but yes, so the 5 and the 5B are actually very much derived from the 4, but because of the air intake, and of course now we've got normally aspirated V10 in it instead of a turbo V6, it is actually very similar. So, but it does, because of that, it does look like a completely different class of car almost. So, anything else I can tell you about the car? Not really. V10. Oh yeah, the MP4 5 that this is derived from, the 5B. Prost actually won the previous year in that car. So the 4.4 one, then the 4.5, then the 4.5B. And then the 4.6. So in consecutive years, 88, 89, 90, 91, McLaren won with those particular cars, all of which are very pretty. There's something very nice about the simple red and white paint scheme as well that probably helps. Again, 6-speed H pattern. This is the 3.5 litre V10, 690 horsepower, and that is accurate. I have driven it at Daytona around the banking just to see whether or not it was accurate, and it is. So, like I said, it's derived from the 4.4, so it should feel fairly similar. Similarly easy to lock the front end on in the first corner, and a flat spot on the tyres again. Ooh, nice little vibration. And you can feel the sort of DNA of the car between the 4.4 and this. If you notice my front left, oh, you can't actually, oh, can you? Yeah, you can see it. How much of the tyre tread has already vanished off it. Again, this is an H pattern, so ultra rapid down changes will potentially lead to this weirdness with the gear sort of hanging in neutral for a little bit of time, a bit of rotation there. Again, really nice. Just make a bit of an interesting noise as it hits the rev limiter with that sort of crunchy sound. really nicely balanced again. Goes where you point it. It is, whoop. If you get a bit overly aggressive with the throttle, it's quite easy to catch, as you would hope. So you're not going to get suddenly caught out by the car spinning on you and doing stupid things. You might have heard a slight hitch in the down changes there. I think it was a bit quick. Yeah, it's really... Quick to get the change up. Really positive to drive. It will bite you if you push it eventually, but like any nice car, you really do have to do something stupid to make it try and kill you. But yeah, absolutely sublime car. With a few more laps I'll probably get it dialed in, so absolutely flat through the double gauge or whatever it's meant to be called. Go on. But yeah, lovely car, really nice to drive. Just the right amount of wheel weight as well, FFP, etc. I could do without the flat spots on the front tyres. And it pulls quite nicely out the chicane even in second gear. At least I think I was in second that time. So yes, and it sounds nice, it's really nice sounds on it. Interesting, if I move the seat down, you can actually, you get the choice, you can either see the tacho or you can see where you're going. So I prefer to see where I'm going, so I've actually got it on the default was to see it like that, so it's a bit strange. Well, they've got the wheel canted enough, I don't know, it just seems strange, but not the first car I've seen in a sim that's like that, so skip the cool down lap and straight in. I won't let you see me looking at the front wheels, not again. Right, the last of the 6 is the 1991 4-stroke-6, which is the Gen 4 car. And that is very similar to the 5B, as you might be able to see. I think there's a slight difference in the side pod. The exit for the radiators is different. But overall shape, not a huge difference from the 5B. The main difference is the fact that it's now got a V12 Honda. And in fact, this is the one and only car that ever won the world title with a V12. Now, there's been other 12-cylinder cars, but they've been flat 12s or W12s or other types of 12. Apparently, this is the only V12, which surprised me when I read that. I thought, really? So, I haven't gone back and double-checked. So, as everything on the internet comes with a pinch of salt, you might want to double-check that yourself. But as far as I'm aware, it is correct. It's also apparently the last time a manual gearbox won the world title. So, but again, nice, clean, simple lines. No extraneous bullshit in the way, dinky little fins everywhere, looks like it's going meh. So I do like these era of cars, like nice classic clean lines, and I do wish they could get back to something more like this. I don't care if they're slow, they just look pretty. And there's a lot to be said for driving a pretty car, even if it's slow. But you notice the power output has gone from 690 for the V10 to 757 brake horsepower. So it's a fair old increase. Same capacity of engine. I think it was 3.5 litre for the previous year. Or were they 3 litre V10s? I'll have to double check that. If I don't remember to put something in the comments, it's because I've forgotten to put something in the comments. But let's go on and drive it. That warmed the tyres up. Trouble with an H pattern. And using paddles. Change down too many gears, you're not in neutral. Yeah, it's 750 odd horsepower from a 3.5 litre engine. That's quite a bit. I forgot to check what sort of lap times we did in the last car. But again, this thing, it shares DNA with the 4.4 and the 4.5B, so it should be equally nice to drive, hopefully, and it is. I mean, obviously sometimes if you put more power into something, it actually makes it worse, but this, it's still that nice positive front end to it, nicely balanced, doesn't try to kill you. Yes, you can drive it badly and make a right and utter fool of yourself by turning in overly abruptly, shoving a load of throttle on and ending up completely sideways, but keep it smooth and you should be fine. And it is blindingly quick. That was one of those weird gear changes where, if you notice, there was a bit of a pregnant pause here as it was thinking about, should I be in neutral or should I be in gear? So yes, like I said, with the H pattern, because it's an H pattern, if you're using paddles you can end up with some weirdness on the gear changes, but 159 from a standing start, that's definitely quicker than the 4.4, wasn't it? .152 is ringing a bell for some reason. I'll have to double check that. Like I said, I will try and remember to put in some ideas of what sort of lap times you should have been able to do. Like I said, I'm certainly not doing myself any favours jumping between cars like this after only 2 laps, and giving yourself any practice time to sort of bed yourself in, get an idea of what the car's going to do, straight in there and just hammer it. I think because, with the possible exception of the BT52 being a bit wayward, they're all such nicely balanced and behaved cars. can get away with it. If you had to jump between 4 bad handling cars, you'd probably end up in the kitty litter more often than on the track. So it says a lot for the cars that I can jump from one to the other. Yeah, I've driven them on and off over the last few days just to get an idea of where I should drive and what I should do with them. But to just jump from one to another and go, yeah, that's going to do that or that, without having to worry about it too much. It says shed loads for how well these cars are sorted. Like I said, the BT52 isn't quite there as far as I feel, but it's not undrivable. You just have to drive it in a slightly different way, maybe. Watch out for the back end rotating a bit too much here and there. Maybe turn down the turbo, and watch out for the brakes locking a bit too easily at times. It goes from, it doesn't feel like it's going to stop to, shit, I've locked the brakes quite easily. So you do have to be a bit careful about that. But all in all, I think you... Oh. Where's me bloody button? Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a cock-eyed start, I think you could say. As they say around here, it's a bit on the hook. That's a good old Suffolk saying. For it's not straight. But yeah, I have to say, those are 6 nice cars. 5 of them very nice. One of them a little bit. But that's not a bad hit rate. So I'd like to see them maybe take another look at the BT52. Maybe they've got the turbo wound up too far. The fact that it's very, very difficult to see what it's doing power-wise might mean there's something weird going on with the turbos. But yeah, very strange. But apart from that, the fact that it's a bit abrupt. I mean, it feels like it's got a good front end, but then a bit iffy on the brakes at times, a little bit prone to snapping on you if you don't quite get things right. So not an easy car to drive, despite what it says about Piquet saying it's an easy car to drive. So there you go. Oh blimey, I've come in at under an hour. That's pretty good. I was thinking maybe I might split this into 2, but I think for an hour it's not so bad. So I will now have to go through and do all the replays and put them all ready to go in the corners and all the other things. So I'll be here another quite a while. So, but that's definitely, if you're thinking about picking it up, well worth the entry fee. It's part 1. I don't know what they'd do if there's a part 2, because obviously, yes, there's been plenty, something like 32 Brazilian drivers in Formula 1 over the years. But they've already got the 3 Senna cars, 2 of the Piquet cars. So there's Piquet and a Williams from whenever that was. Was it in the mid-90s he did that? Can't remember. Other than that, Emerson Fittipaldi 2 cars, which are the M23, which is already in, and the Lotus 72D he won in, and there's a 72E in the game. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference between the 2, so it's pretty much there or thereabouts for most of them. Like I said, I was a bit confused by the BT49 in there, but so what they do with it, I mean, they could go with some Rubens Barrichello or Felipe Massa cars, but that would imply they probably need a Ferrari license, wouldn't it? Barrichello, what else did he drive? Benetton? Just thinking what they drove. My brain's a blank at this point. I think I'll just get on and do the replays because I'm like, no. So, right, that's that. Like I said, not sure whether or not there will be a part 2. If there is, it'll be interesting to see what comes with it. But absolutely nailing some of these cars now. The 3 McLarens are lovely to drive. The Lotus is nice to drive. The 49 is nice to drive, even if it's got the wrong wings on it. Oh, I'm not sure. But the 52, I mean, it's drivable. And if you're given the choice between that and the 410, I think it is, in the same class, you find the 41C anywhere where there's a lot of corners will probably be better, because it's just a nicer handling car, and it's a lot easier to drive. It's not as peaky. It's a Cosworth V8, so in the back of it, so it's an easier car to drive, definitely. The BT52 in the right hands on the right circuit will be absolutely unbeatable, but it will have to be in the right hands at the right circuit, or you'll have to work out what to do to get it to work. I don't know if they've changed it, but you couldn't actually adjust the rear wing on it, so all you got was about 2 adjustments on the front wing to try and balance it a bit more. But it just seemed like it's not quite 100%. It's close, but it's not quite there as far as I'm concerned. So that's my opinion. I know, opinions like arseholes. Everyone's got one. Most are full of shit. But that's mine. So, but for now, for me, enjoy your racing, have fun, and I will see you soon. Goodbye. Where's my button?